I feel like we really need to decentralize social media when we're creating, because when you create from that like authentic and vulnerable space, it's gonna perform well on social media. Like, of course, it's gonna perform well everywhere in real life and on socials. But when you create just for socials, I feel like your sense of self-worth becomes attached to the results that are connected from whatever it is that you created. I shared this painting and it didn't really get the engagement I was hoping for. So what does that say about me as an artist? What does that say about me as a painter? What does that say about me as a person? When it doesn't say anything, it says that maybe some people simply didn't see your post. Maybe it wasn't pushed to the right audience that day. Like, it could be a plethora of reasons why engagement isn't what we want it to be when we share something online. But the important part is, are we satisfied with what we created? Are we satisfied with what we shared? Because if we are, the metrics won't matter. What's good, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I go by Ash, and in today's video, I want to talk about creating without gain. I feel like we're all in a space where we've been so conditioned to create for social media for so many years. Some of us have only been conditioned to create for social media, and some of us don't even know what it's like to create just for creation's sake without sharing it on socials. And I know it's a bit contradictory to be talking about this topic while creating a video to put on a social media platform. But hear me out though. What does it truly mean to create without gain? Without gaining followers, without gaining money, without gaining status? What does it feel like to create for your soul? Creating as a way to heal yourself, or creating simply for release, or creating simply really for creation's sake? We're in a space where, regardless of what kind of creator you are, in conjunction with your artistry, you're also creating for social channels. So even if you're a painter or a photographer, and obviously you're creating in a different medium and you're sharing that in a gallery, in a museum, in a magazine, you're still also adapting that in some kind of way, whether it's as a reel, as a TikTok, as a carousel on Instagram. You're putting that in a way that is consumable on social media, as a way to attract new audiences, spread your reach, hopefully convert those followers into... It's always the traffic. It's always the traffic. Hopefully convert those followers into customers that generates some real bang for your buck. But I feel like we've gotten in a space, and obviously I can't speak for everybody, I feel like we've gotten in a space where we've spent so much time on social media that we don't know how to create in a way that isn't to appease social media and the social gaze. It's no longer about not wanting to be perceived and not wanting to be judged and not wanting to be liked. Like, obviously those are aspects that hold people back from putting themselves out there in any kind of aspect, whether it is digitally or in person. However, if TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Snapchat. Anyways, it's like if TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, X all got knocked offline and was just down for days, weeks, who knows when it's coming back. One, where would you be sharing the pieces and work that you are creating? And two, what would you be creating to share in the first place? Would you be creating anything? Do you create simply because it feeds your soul? Because truly you love to create and you feel like you're giving something back to the world? Or are you creating simply to be seen, simply to create a certain narrative about yourself to put out so that you can be this certain character or role or person online? It's funny to think about Instagram and social media creation as a whole, because I recall a time where I was a freshman in college and I would create videos just simply to create them for me to rewatch later. Creating videos online as a form of release. I would literally sit here with my MacBook on photo booth and just be ranting, literally not intending to share it on YouTube or any kind of social platform, really, not even to share it widespread amongst my friends, literally just as a form of release. Maybe even you could say a form of therapy. It is busy today. I feel like maybe I usually film earlier or later in the day. I don't know. And in a way, I feel like a lot of creators and artists create as a form of healing, as a form of moving through traumas, as a form of expressing the things you want to say but maybe can't quite verbalize, but simply as a form of release. The way that we release ourselves is through creating art, whatever your art form is. As contradictory as it is to be creating content for social media, talking about creating without gain and creating not for socials, I feel like we need to normalize being a contradiction. I think it's okay to be multi hyphenated and to express yourself in a multitude of ways. It's okay to want to just have fun and be kitschy on social media and just create without being too serious. But it's also okay to want more from what you're creating, want more from what you're consuming, just want more depth, more connection, more relatability, more realness, more genuineness, more vulnerability, more transparency, just more. It feels like creating has gotten a bit empty in a way, and we're all just being a brand online rather than being ourselves. And I understand that social media is a business for many, and it is definitely to be taken serious, but it feels empty. It feels like we're brands talking to each other and brands talking to consumers rather than humans talking to other humans. It's like when you see a paper towel roll commenting on a video that has nothing to do with paper towels or toilet paper or messes or anything of the such, and they're like, yeah, girl, blah, 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 and talking in whatever tone of voice they think fits either their brand or fits the response to that video. And it's just like,
Ariana, what are you doing here?
it just feels a little out of place. And I feel like that is how influencing and content creation has become. On the influencer end, it feels like the influencer is a never ending, non-stop running ad, constantly needing to sell in order to sustain their lives. And we're constantly being sold to on the other end. And in the digital creator side, it feels like we've all created a certain character, created a certain brand that was supposed to be a part of ourselves, but has somehow become separate from ourselves. And so we're now, what once used to be a very natural form of creation has become a more methodical, a more forced kind of creation that has led to, I feel like, a lot of burnout I'm seeing in a lot of people. I feel like we're no longer creating in a way that is natural to our lives, but we are almost organizing our lives around creation. Like we are organizing the things that we do, the people we hang out with, the places we go around what kind of content can be created out of this moment, out of this experience, rather than this is the life, this is my life, this is how I live, this is what it is, this is how I am. And I feel like sharing right now. Let me just whip up my camera and share some thoughts that are ruminating in my mind. Or I'm at this really dope experience. I would love to share this. Let me just pull out my phone. It's like we've all just started going to events, going to restaurants, going to see movies, going to do things based on how cool of a video it might create for social media. Things that some people aren't even interested in. It's almost like people are changing their interests to appease what the consumer might want to see online. And like I said, everybody is not like this. Every creator is not like this. Certainly, there are a lot of creators in which it feels very authentic and very genuine and very new and just fresh, and it doesn't feel redundant. But we've gotten to a point where we have so many daily vlogs and weekly vlogs and monthly vlogs and weekly resets and morning resets and skincare routines and nighttime routines. And it's like we're all creating the same type of content. I've been talking about this with my friends recently, and it's actually a friend of mine who put in a group chat that they've recently been creating without gain. And I was like, that is such a bar. I need to share that. I need to share that. Like, we do need to get back to creating without gain, creating just because. We need to get back to digging deeper within ourselves, reflecting, analyzing, seeing kind of what's on the insides of our hearts, what's on the insides of our minds, and what needs to be released. Not what we think should be shared, but what our body and our minds and our spirits, our hearts actually need to release and to share with the world. I know for me personally, it led to me taking a little bit of a TikTok break because I felt like growing on TikTok meant producing a video every day, if not every other day, if not just at a frequency that didn't feel sustainable after a while. It felt like a little redundant in a little bit of a ways to constantly be creating at a quality level and always be coming up with new ideas, new things to share, new ways to edit. And I feel like I had to get back to what is it about creating videos specifically that I love the most. And for me, it is sharing. It is creating dialogue. It is creating community out of that dialogue, to have that dialogue with one another so that we are all in a space where as deeply as we can connect with each other on lines, we can also do this in real life. I feel like the reason that social anxiety is at such an all-time high, or at least feels like it's at such an all-time high, is because we all know how to create and show up online to communicate and connect with each other and others online. And we don't know how to connect with ourselves more deeply and to connect with the world and each other in real lives. It's like we're awkward in reality, but here, when it's just you and the camera, just you and your phone, it's like all your personality comes out. A ball of personality comes out. I know for me, I create so that I can continue to show up authentically in my real life. And as a result of showing up authentically in my real life, I have no choice but to show up authentically on camera. Like even now, this is my third week of recording videos for YouTube that I haven't uploaded yet to the platform. Obviously, at the time that you'll be watching this, this is now uploaded to the platform, but this is my third week of creating without releasing, without any form of gain other than spiritual gain, mental gain, emotional gain. I feel like I've been feeding other parts of myself so that my creativity doesn't feel stifled and trapped. I don't feel like I've been experiencing any creative blocks. I feel like I've been experiencing spiritual, mental, and emotional blocks. I feel like my brain and my attention span has started to shrink to that of a goldfish. I feel like it's all shrunk into that of a goldfish. And I know I'm speaking for myself, but I'm sure many of you can relate when I say that as much as I love the clock app, as much as we all love the clock app, it has really distorted our attention span and the way that we create and the way that we show up in our real lives and how present we are in our real lives, and also how comfortable we feel to spend time with ourselves without scrolling. Can we just sit with ourselves in silence? Can we just sit and read a book? Can we just sit and watch a movie without picking up our phones? I feel like we really need to decentralize social media when we're creating. And it doesn't mean to create and not share on social media. It means that when we're creating, whether we are painting, whether we are making a video, whether we are recording a podcast or designing a set of a movie, we need to create without socials being on our brain, just for creation's sake. Because when you create from that like authentic and vulnerable space, it's gonna perform well on social media. Like, of course, it's gonna perform well everywhere in real life and on socials. But when you create just for socials, I feel like your sense of self-worth becomes attached to the results that are connected from whatever it is that you created. Like, okay, I shared this painting and it didn't really get the engagement I was hoping for. So what does that say about me as an artist? What does that say about me as a painter? What does that say about me as a person? When it doesn't say anything, it says that maybe some people simply didn't see your post. Maybe it wasn't pushed to the right audience that day. Like, it could be a plethora of reasons why engagement isn't what we want it to be when we share something online. But the important part is, are we satisfied with what we created? Are we satisfied with what we shared? Because if we are, the metrics won't matter. And I say that knowing damn well, obviously, metrics matter because this is people's livelihoods at the end of the day. Like, let's be so for real about it. But I feel like you get to be detached from result. You get to be more attached to creation than you are the result of the creation. And I think that is a pure way to create, a pure place to create from. But I will say, if I've learned anything from just the past 3 weeks of creating without gain, creating just to create, and showing up more presently in my life, and trying my best to detach from my phone, even though it is not always the easiest thing to do. Because even if I get off TikTok, it seems to be replaced by another app, and then another app, and then another app, and it's like, throw the whole phone out the window, like, to be honest. But if I've learned anything from the last 3 weeks of creating without gain, it's that it is a lot more fulfilling. It is more pure. The sense of dopamine that I get from this creation is something that can be sustained. It's not like drinking an energy drink, having that quick boost of energy and then crashing super hard. It's like eating fruit and drinking water and having a balanced diet throughout your day that just gives you the energy that you need to keep going without crashing, without plateauing. And then as you start to come down, it's like you come down in a way that is natural, so there's not these high highs and these low lows. And I would just like to challenge you all, whether you create for social media or not, whether you consider yourself even creative or not, try to do more things without centralizing social media, without centralizing your phone, without centralizing even having to capture the moment to share, even if it is with your family and friends via text. Create more art, create more moments with yourselves, create more moments with others, without the need to share, without the need to feel like you're gaining something from someone else or from some external value in order to feel whole. Create because your heart needs it, because your soul needs it. Create because, at some point, this is going to add value to the world. And that isn't a gain for you. That is a collective gain. And if you are creating online for social media, whether it's YouTube or Instagram, TikTok, whatever the place may be, if you're creating video content more specifically, create the kind of videos and discuss the kind of topics that are actually interesting to you. Create the kind of videos that make you stop on social media and be like, wow, this is really entertaining, or this is really interesting, or wow, I really relate and connect to this. Whatever that reason that makes you stop and interact with someone else's video, create that. Create just more moments in your life where you can invite joy from like a pure space. And it's something I'm definitely still learning, so I have by no means all the answers or figured it all out. I'm just saying what has worked for me. And so I would like to challenge you all to do something similar and create things that you love, create things that make you happy, create things that bring you joy, create things that heal your soul, create things that feed your mind, create things that expand your heart, and see how you feel. And if you really want a bonus credit, do all of that and then don't share it on social media. Create simply to create, and try to not share those things that you are creating, and see how that feels to you, at least for a little while. It might help you reframe your perspective, right, around the life you want to create and around the things that you can control. I was in yoga this morning, ironically. Our yogi instructor passed around a new set of cards where you think about something, a habit, or whatever that you want to let go. Think about something that you want to release yourself from. Take a couple deep breaths, choose a card from the deck, read it, and then close your eyes and sit in silence and let the answer come to you. I thought that, one, was a beautiful setup. But two, the card that I got today is, what are you responsible for? And that has sat deeply with me, especially considering the last video where I talked about how my therapist had to remind me that I am not responsible for the emotions of others. And I am reminding you all that you are only responsible for your emotions, your actions, and your perspective of the world. Upload in this video, whether it gets 1,000,000 likes or 0 likes, whether it gets 100 thumbs up or 100 thumbs down. I'm creating something that's coming from my heart, that is energizing my mind, and that I genuinely and intuitively feel called to share. And that is enough for me. And hopefully that is enough for you, beautiful humans. So thank you for spending this time with me this week in today's video. I hope by the fourth week in my next video, I will have uploaded at least one video to the platform. I definitely feel like I've gone off on several different tangents despite, like I said in my last video, having some notes down. Like I actually did put some notes down, but I'm still just like chatting. So I'm gonna figure that out. But until then, the takeaways again from this video are: what does it mean to create without gain? And how does it feel to create without centralizing social media? And the challenge is to create something that comes from your soul, that speaks to your heart, and that expands your mind. Not sharing it on social media, and doing that for at least a week and maybe seeing how you feel. Maybe even just 2 days and then seeing how you feel. But I love you all. Until next week. From my cozy corner to yours. Ciao. Another week down.